Education, they say, is the bedrock of any nation. And in delivering quality education at tertiary level, there must be availability of affordable and stable power supply. Before now, most tertiary institutions faced inadequate and unreliable power supply, which significantly affects activities in the academic environment. And to change the narrative, the federal government embarked on a move towards powering federal tertiary institutions through solar energy infrastructure, an initiative under the Energizing education project being executed by the Rural Electrification Agency, which seeks to address the long-standing energy deficit plaguing federal universities and teaching hospitals through the installations of solar mini-grids. Applauding the initiative, which aims to provide clean and reliable electricity, some academics say it has increased academic activities, provided efficient power supply for laboratories and libraries 24 hours daily, and has also improved living and learning conditions for both students and faculties across tertiary institutions in the country. But how is the initiative faring, especially with a target of providing reliable and sustainable power supply to 37 federal universities and 7 university teaching hospitals across the country? Tonight on Weekend File, our focus will be on federal government's efforts towards energizing tertiary institutions, and our guest is the Managing Director, CEO, Rural Electrification Agency, Abba Abubakar, who will be joining us from our Lagos Network studio. We'll bring you situation reports, of course, from across the country. Thank you for joining us. This is Weekend File. I'm Ruth Aguela. 535 youths from across Nigeria have received hands-on training in metalworks and empowerment tools courtesy of the boot camp training program organized by the Ministry of Steel Development. Minister of Steel Development, Shuaibu Abubakar Audu, who was at the closing ceremony at the Metallurgical Training Institute, Onitsha, says the program, which will be held at intervals, targeting to bridge the skills gap in Nigeria's steel and metal sector, is on the right trajectory. Let's hear from Ekene Ndulwe.
Esemude Omoroye is among the 535 youths that made it to the bootcamp training program in Onitsha. It has been his long-time desire to acquire a vocational skill, and thanks to the Ministry of Steel Development, that desire has become a reality.
I've been able to utilize it to the fullest, and I'm ready to go out there to replicate such skills.
For the Minister of Steel Development, the program is a deliberate effort by the President Tinu administration to build the skill set required to revamp Nigeria's steel sector.
One of its cardinal objectives is to create employment opportunities for millions of Nigerians, and this is one of the ways to create those employment opportunities. You train them with the required skill set because there's hundreds of thousands of demands for these types of training.
More than just skills, they have received mentorship, business development training, and exposure to industry simulations.
These trainees are also going home with starter kits designed to enable immediate self-employment. From Onitsha, Ekene Ndulwe, NTA News.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has announced the commencement of scheduled maintenance and sustainability assessment at the Port Harcourt Refining Company. A statement by the Chief Corporate Communications Officer, NNPC Limited, Olufemi Shoneye, said the shutdown aims to ensure the refinery's continued safe and efficient operation. The statement added that NNPC Limited is collaborating with stakeholders, including the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, to carry out the maintenance transparently, adding that further updates will be provided regularly on the situation. In other news, the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau has begun an on-site investigation into the crash landing of a diamond training aircraft operated by the Aviation Training School. The incident occurred yesterday during a simulated instrument approach on runway at the General Tunde Idiagbon International Airport, Ilorin. Director General, Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau, Captain Alex Bade Jr., visited the crash site today to assess the situation and oversee the initial phase of the investigation. He confirmed that the aircraft's data card has been recovered and analysis has commenced. Captain Bade Jr. assured the public that the country's airspace remains safe and the Bureau will provide further updates as the investigation progresses. The presidential initiative on unlocking the healthcare value chain is to mobilize resources for local manufacturers in the healthcare industry who meet specific requirements. Well, the national coordinator of the initiative, Dr. Abdul Mukhtar, stated this at a 3-day consultation visit to Kano State, where he visited a syringe production company.
We are not an intervention program like the previous central bank intervention programs. We don't have money to invest in a project, but what we have is a pool of money that we have aggregated from different financial institutions. So our Exim Bank, European Investment Bank, Africa Development Bank, we all work with them. We look at the feasibility studies and the bankability of the project, and then we can now bring you together with the financing institutions, and then they can finance you on their own terms.
Qualified manufacturers will be offered financial assistance to scale up operations in the country. And still talking health, breaking the silence and amplifying voices on the dangers of obstetric fistula. Gynecologists and patients insist are the most effective ways to end the condition. Elizabeth Omori reports on the prevention and treatment to reduce prevalence of mortality as nations raise advocacy.
Obstetric fistula, a serious childbirth injury characterized by an abnormal opening between the vagina and another organ, like the bladder or rectum. Medical experts say it is caused by prolonged and obstructed labor, where there is no access to a cesarean section. This leads to tissue damage and a fistula, which can cause constant leakage of urine or feces. Women with fistula often experience chronic inconvenience, leading to social isolation and stigma. In Nigeria, the prevalence of obstetric fistula is estimated at 3.2 per 100 births. Reducing the death toll from this condition informed this awareness work. Precious shares her experience.
In 6 years, I can't even control it. We can be having a very serious conversation here, and then you just be like, put. I can't control it. It's not my fault. I can't control it. But then Bashir Foundation came in, paid for the surgery, and I'm fine.
Organizers of the walk believe the move is a global call to action to reduce the suffering of women living with obstetric fistula.
You tell a woman to come to the hospital, and then she comes to the hospital, there's no doctor on ground to take care of her. There's always one concern or the other, so there's still so many things to do, to put in place for us to be able to achieve what we need to achieve. Between 12 to 15, rape, those are the ones that causes this obstetric fistula. CS can cause obstetric fistula too. And to prevent it, we have is treatable, one, and is repairable.
Ending obstetric fistula, they say, would significantly improve maternal health. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Kano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf has granted automatic employment to 84 beneficiaries of a foreign scholarship program following the full settlement of their outstanding tuition and accommodation fees at the Cypriot University. Abdullahi Mustafa reports that among the returning graduates are 24 medical doctors and allied health professionals.
Beacon of hope and genuine advocate for education and development in Kano State.
Words of appreciation from Ibrahim Aliyu, one of the 84 beneficiaries of Kano State Government Scholarship in Cyprus. Appreciation to Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf for approving the release of 2.2 billion naira to settle their outstanding tuition and accommodation fees, for which the Cypriot University withheld their certificates since the last 5 years. He and his colleagues left Kano in 2014 to pursue degrees in medical and allied health sciences, engineering and information technology. Governor Yusuf, who presented the certificates, announced automatic employment to all of them.
We yet call upon them to strive to give back to the society and contribute meaningfully and selflessly to the development of our dear state.
For parents and well-wishers, the governor's gesture has, in addition to being a financial relief that ended years of hardship, also promised to strengthen Kano's health care and other critical sectors. For Aliyu and his fellow graduates, it is an opportunity to give back to their home state through dedicated and selfless service. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
President Bola Tinu congratulates Ayo Obi, a veteran human rights activist and lawyer, on her 70th birthday today. Ayo Obi was head of the Civil Liberties Organization, Nigeria Transition Monitoring Group, member, Police Service Commission, and headed the Democratic Institute Abuja Elections Program. A statement through the Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, says President Tinu commends the legal practitioner for her patriotism and humanism and praised that God Almighty will continue to grant the patriot good health and sound mind to continue to serve the nation. The 25th anniversary celebration of the Rotary Club of Wuse Central, Abuja, was not just a testament to a quarter-century of resilience and unwavering commitment of the Rotarians to the ideals of Rotary, but was a platform to honor individuals and organizations who have partnered the club over the years. Chinenye Nwoye reports that a special recognition award was presented to the Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, Salihu Abdulhamid Dambas, for amplifying the impact of the club's community service projects through NTA's quality reportage.
The club has consistently demonstrated a steadfast commitment to serving humanity. Sarah Sander, a former director training at the NTA headquarters, Abuja, stood proudly to receive the club's charter and made history not just as the first female president of the Rotary Club of Wuse Central, but also as the first female Rotary Club president in Abuja Zone District.
We've sunk so many boreholes, we've rehabilitated health centers, we adopted Anawin, poorest of the poor orphanage in Gwagwalada. We rebuilt their hostels and built a fence for them, furnished it. We've built classroom blocks in Asokoro.
Our club has fostered lasting relationships built on trust, knowledge, and wish to drive positive change.
Try to do what you can do to better the lives of the less able people within your community.
NTA's Director General is here represented by the General Manager NTA International, Oganya Simon. Dame Pauline Tallinn, a former Minister of Women Affairs and former Deputy Governor of Plateau State, was also honored, and she was among luminaries who graced the club's inaugural event 25 years ago.
The Rotary Club of Wuse Central have done so much, and I'm so proud of all the members, and I call on all Nigerians to live a life of service to humanity.
In Abuja, Chinenye Nwoye, NTA News.
All right, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll be discussing energizing tertiary institutions. You want to find out how? Stay tuned. Thank you for staying tuned. High cost of generating electricity, insufficient supply and poor distribution infrastructure have caused significant challenges to Nigeria's tertiary institutions, teaching hospitals and research facilities. This prompted the federal government to take the bold step of providing renewable energy options to ensure sustainable power supply in tertiary institutions. Well, let's take a look at what has been happening in our next report.
Energizing educational institutions is a deliberate outcome of Nigeria's energy transition plan, a policy that emphasizes adoption of renewable energy for unserved and underserved communities. Provision of solar mini-grids to universities, which commenced in phases, was targeted at energy-efficient system for improved academic learning environment. The sharp hike in electricity tariffs added significant financial strain on Nigeria's public universities, forcing some into darkness due to unpaid debt, leading to disconnections that have impacted on teaching and learning. Solar mini-grids as an emerging alternative offer a sustainable solution to rising cost and unreliable electricity.
Lack of electricity is actually causing a lot of hardship on students. So the introduction of solar system in university is a big plus for us.
The effect in the universities, especially being a learning environment, renewable energy will be the alternative. It's even cheaper to generate power through solar system.
The coming up of solar system, it's an alternative. Those who are really serious in school, they will be able to meet their power need.
Nigerian public universities are increasingly adopting solar power to address energy insufficiency and rising cost of electricity, while the government has been actively implementing strategic solar energy projects across various universities. 24 were outlined and 15 so far electrified.
An adequate energy source is critical to smooth operations in Nigerian universities. Addressing power supply challenges helps in reducing costs and promoting sustainability, hence the need for a reliable energy source. It is against this backdrop that the federal government, is already taking the bold step of energizing tertiary institutions in Nigeria. Let's hear from Nkiru Onyejesi.
This initiative being undertaken by Rural Electrification Agency, REA, aims to provide reliable and sustainable power to 37 federal universities and 7 affiliated teaching hospitals. The project is focused on developing off-grid dedicated power plant and rehabilitating existing distribution infrastructure.
For us at the university, without energy, we will not be able to do a lot of things here. Teaching can't go on effectively. Apart from that, our laboratories will not be able to function effectively. And so energy is very, very key. It's very, very central to what we do.
It's a very good innovative, very good idea, and it's going to curb what we call the climate change issue. Because by the time you begin to reduce fossil fuel, begin to reduce the use of fuel, use of diesel, you are reducing the climate change effect on people.
You don't go back to the Stone Age using a kerosene or vegetable oil lamp. So if we can get a cheap supply of light rather than what we have, it's a good development in our own society here in Nigeria.
Provision of the solar project in university is a very commendable approach by the federal government.
Stakeholders, however, note that a major concern is safeguarding the facility from vandalism. They urge the government and the school authorities to put in place proper security measures to ensure the security of the equipment. The federal government's goal is to have all federal tertiary institutions running on renewable energy by 2027. In Port Harcourt, Nkiru Onyejesi, NTA News.
Right, let's bring in our guest who joins us from our Lagos Network studio, the Managing Director and CEO Rural Electrification Agency, Mr. Abubakar Aliyu. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Aliyu.
Thank you, Ruth, for having me.
We are talking about the energizing tertiary institutions through the solar mini-grids that has been ongoing across tertiary institutions and their teaching hospitals, which is highly commendable. But tell us, at what phase is the project at this point? And how much impact would you say it has had for these tertiary institutions and the teaching hospitals?
Thank you very much for this question. So the Energizing Education Program, it's a program designed to deploy electricity in various federal universities. Electricity that is affordable, that is reliable, that is sustainable and environmentally friendly. But beyond that also, we ensure that in our intervention in all these universities, it's not just deploying the electricity infrastructure at these various universities. We add a number of key valuable intervention. One, we build a world-class training center in all these universities and equip it with renewable energy training equipment. This is to enable the university to have an opportunity of continuously training students in the renewable space. Secondly, we also build and enhance the distribution infrastructure within the universities. Thirdly, we also ensure total metering of all the consumption points to ensure reduction of commercial and technical losses. And fourthly, also, we involve students of those universities, specifically in the first instance, 20 female students. We involve them from soil testing to the commissioning of this power plant. This enables us to continuously build talent pipeline in the renewable ecosystem in the country. Where we are now, we just completed the phase 2 of this intervention, where we deployed this mini grid in 7 universities and 2 teaching hospitals. Just last 3 weeks, the Honorable Minister of Power commissioned the one 3 megawatt capacity at the Nigerian Defense Academy. We have the biggest one at the University of Maiduguri, a 12 megawatt powering the university, the teaching hospital, and some even excess capacity that we want to use it to power potentially the water treatment plant within the Maiduguri metropolitan. We have another one in Federal University Gashua. We have Federal University of Agriculture Abeokuta. We have another one in Federal University Umudike in Abia State. So this phase 2, covering 7 universities and 2 teaching hospitals, completed. As we are completing this, the federal government, under the leadership of President Bola Tinu, provided us with another funding under the financing of the African Development Bank. And we have now started another round of 8 universities and 1 teaching hospital, which we expect that by August we will start commissioning it. This third phase of this intervention covers University of Port Harcourt, University of Federal University of Technology, Imo Owerri. There is another one in Duzema. There is also in Federal University Lokoja, Federal University in Nasarawa, Lafia. There is also Federal University of Technology, Owerri, and Federal University of Technology in Ondo, Akure. So these 8 universities, we are very much advanced stage, coming from 60% to 80%. And like I said, from August, we will start, the Honorable Minister of Power will start commissioning this project. And as we are about to complete this phase 3, still we secured additional fund financing, and we have now in the process of designing phase 4 of this intervention. And in this phase 4, we are looking at key 8 federal universities. We are looking at intervening in Federal Obafemi Awolowo University, University of Ibadan and the Teaching Hospital, University of Lagos, University of Nigeria in Nsukka, Federal University in Benin, Ahmadu Bello University, Federal University in Taraba, Wukari, and Federal University in Dutse, Jigawa State. So these 8 universities, we are currently designing the mini-grid, the distribution network, the SCADA system, and the metering system that we will deploy. And last 3 weeks, under the leadership of the Honorable Minister of Education, we signed collaborative agreement with these universities for this intervention.
It's quite a lot, I must say, talking about the intervention, even in the aspect of the funding. I'm just curious, is it solely a federal government funding initiative? What role would these beneficiaries, talking about the universities, play? Do they have a stake in the funding? And also, on the flip side, the private sector, can they come in to support the federal government, you know, light up these universities?
Yeah, so the role of the universities is, one, to provide the land where we need to deploy this mini-grid. Also, through the collaborative agreement that we signed with these universities, we articulated the roles of the universities, apart from providing the land, ensuring that they certify the environmental social impact assessment that we conduct or will conduct within the university, and at the same time also provide support in the security of this infrastructure that we deploy within the universities. Now, of course, there is a role for the private sector in this regard, and the private sector plays a role in ensuring the sustainability of this infrastructure that we deploy. Just recently, we even put out a request for proposal from the private sector that specializes in operation and maintenance, because we articulated the role of each parties, each stakeholders, and we allocate the role to the party that is best fit to carry out that responsibility. For the university, it is not their role to generate this electricity, to distribute it and do the commercial work. Their role is to administer the training center and make use of this equipment within the training center and train the student. And it is also their role to make sure that the payment for the electrons that we generate from this power plant is paid, and that is why we ensure the metering. The private sector, on the other hand, plays a role of being engaged by the Rural Electrification Agency under the Renewable Asset Management Company to provide the operation and maintenance over a long period of time. Not only providing the operation and maintenance, but also providing the commercial framework of collection of the tariff that is supposed to be paid by the charging point, by all the points that are consuming this electricity. In future, we are also looking at creating a financing framework under the Renewable Asset Management Company, whereby we will have a blended financing that will enable us bring in financing from the private sector, funders and development finance institutions to continue to intervene not only at this in the federal universities, but even polytechnics and college of education. If you may recall, under the 2025 budget, the president provided an intervention of 100 billion naira under the National Public Sector Solarization Initiative, which is an initiative designed by the Honorable Minister of Power and approved by Mr. President, for us to now expand this intervention with a view to reduce cost of governance and intervene in public buildings, intervene in college of education and federal polytechnics, which we have already started. We have earmarked about 18 College of Education and Polytechnics, and we are designing this mini-grid. We'll soon start intervening. We also identify a number of government buildings within Abuja as the phase 0, included the National Hospital, for us to also deploy this solarization, reduce their cost of operation, and provide them with reliable intervention as regards to electricity.
All right, Mr. Aliyu, we'll have to pause with the conversation. We have to take a break. We'll be back shortly, so stay put. We'll be back. Thank you for staying with us. No fewer than 55,000 students of the Bayo University, Kano, are presently benefiting from the 7.1 megawatt solar hybrid power plant provided by the federal government. Now, this is in addition to the more than 3,000 staff of the university who are also benefiting from this initiative. Elizabeth Lamido reports.
The 7.1 megawatt solar hybrid power project at Bayo University, Kano, is said to be the largest provided in any university in Africa to improve education, research, and create enabling academic environments for learning. With this development, more than 55,000 students and 3,000 staff of the Bayo University, Kano, are benefiting from the solar power initiative undertaken by the Rural Electrification Agency for Sustainable Decentralized Energy. The Energizing education program of the federal government focuses on developing off-grid dedicated independent power plants and the rehabilitation of existing distribution infrastructure. The project also includes upgrading street lighting to improve security within the university community, as well as the development of world-class training centers on renewable energy for each university. In Kano, Elizabeth Yilalamido, NTA News.
All right, let's take another break. We'll be back. Glad to know you stayed. Let's reconnect with Mr. Aliyu there in our Lagos Network Center. Mr. Aliyu, I want to believe that, you know, beyond just powering tertiary institutions and their teaching hospitals, on a larger scale, how do you think this project, you know, will help in curbing Nigeria's, emission, you know, in the quest for the nation to cut that carbon footprint?
So it is one of the key objectives of the project to eliminate completely the use of diesel, which would eliminate emission, because as we all know, renewable energy sources are the most sustainable and environmentally friendly source of generating electricity. Not only that, it's also cost effective. If you look at apart from the cost of deploying the infrastructure, there's almost zero cost of maintaining this, apart from the cost of maybe security and cleaning of the panels. The other cost is maybe over a period of time, cost of replacing the equipment. And of course, we do experience some challenges, just like the project at the Bayo University that was mentioned earlier. The project currently is experienced some challenges, and we are part of the National Public Solarization Initiative. There is a provision to totally overhaul that project and increase the capacity, replace the equipment that are faulty. So definitely the projects are environmentally friendly, cost-effective, and the tariff we charge from the electrons that we generate from this power plant in the university are quite affordable and reduce the cost of operation and in these universities and enhance reliability of the supply.
Okay, we're talking about 37 federal tertiary institutions and 7 teaching hospitals. That is a lot. And the target, you know, is for 2027. You just mentioned the challenge, that was tackled from the Bayo University. What strategy are you adopting, to pull up, or rather pull out hurdles along the line so you meet your target?
So one of the key strategies that we adopted is securing the approval of the Honorable Minister of Power for the establishment of the Renewable Asset Management Company. This company is designed with the sole objective of ensuring the sustainability of this infrastructure that we deploy in these universities. By the establishment of this company, the total asset we deployed under phase 1, 2, 3, and even 4 that we are planning to will now be on the balance sheet of this Renewable Asset Management Company. And the company will be responsible for the engaging of the private sector that will do the operation and maintenance of the power plant, and will also be responsible for the charging of the tariff. The tariff that we will charge would just be for 2 purposes. One, for financing the operation and maintenance of this power plant, and the second component of the tariff will be to amortize finance or funds for the replacement of the equipment. As you know, one of the challenges of renewable energy infrastructure is that all the equipment that we deploy have lifespan. So, for example, the battery, lithium-ion battery that we deploy, they have a lifespan of 10 years. The panels, photovoltaic panels, have a lifespan between 25 to 30 years. So we plan with the end in mind. So from day one, we start to keep certain part of the tariff that we charge in an account of that Renewable Asset Management Company, so that by the time the batteries reach their lifespan, we have funding to quickly replace them, so that there is a commercial structure of continuously running this infrastructure without going back to the federal government over time. So that is one challenge. The second challenge is also ensuring that we physically we protect this infrastructure. So we use a grade 1, global grade 1 perimeter fencing to safeguard this asset. And that is why we don't joke when it comes to this physical infrastructure, safeguarding this asset. What the kind of infrastructure that was used, the company that provides infrastructure for example, the White House or the Trump Wall, is the same company, the product that we use in physically protecting our assets in the country. So we are very conscious of perimeter fencing and safeguarding of the asset that we deployed in these universities.
All right, Mr. Aliyu, on a final note, the federal government has demonstrated its commitment, in meeting the basic needs of these tertiary institutions. But again, renewable energy, is one of the greatest energy sources anywhere in the world, renewable sources anywhere in the world. What is the future going to look like in the near few years to come?
The future of renewable energy in Nigeria is very bright. It has never been this good for the renewable space. What we are looking at is making Nigeria to be the renewable hub of the entire Africa. And we have deployed clear strategy approved by the Honorable Minister of Power. One, we have the financing. We have created an ecosystem of Nigerian companies that we call them RESCO, Renewable Energy Service Company, that are deploying, that have developed technical knowledge, capacity in deploying this infrastructure, and even in attracting financing. And they are the ones we leverage on in deploying various mini-grids across the country. We also are very conscious of now localizing the manufacturing and assembly of this equipment in the country. Under the policies of the federal government, under the leadership of Mr. President, to date, Nigeria is proud to say that we have capacity of up to 600 megawatt capacity of manufacturing and assembly of photovoltaic panels in the country. this will continue to increase over a period of time. One of these companies is here in Ikotun, here in Lagos, with a capacity of 100 megawatts. Another one in Abuja called JRV with a capacity of 250 megawatts. And all this came into being under this government. We are also, the Rural Electrification Agency is also in discussion with Greenvolt for the investment of $150 million in lithium battery assembly plant in Lekki trade-free zone here in Lagos. So we are now conscious of building, domesticating this manufacturing of renewable energy equipment in the country. Then lastly is also building the talent pipeline. We are conscious we cannot be the renewable hub without technical knowledge or without the skill and competencies that the private sector and the public sector needed to deploy this infrastructure. Just yesterday, the NTA covered an event where we unleash the first set of 120 youth that go through a very rigorous process of selection, and they are now going to be trained in 12 years with automatic employment. First of its kind. This is in collaboration between REA and a private sector company called Prado and the Nigerian NAPTIM, the training arm of the federal government in the power sector. So this is the future of renewable energy in the country.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abba Aliyu, for your insight on Weekend Vow. And we'll continue to monitor development as we pray and hope for a nation, that thrives in sustainable power supply, a reliable one, of course. Thank you for that. Nation, that thrives in sustainable. All right, next will be sports update, and Ayo is already set to feed us with all the gist. Ayo Deji, what do you have?
Oh yeah, quite so much, Ruth, but let's renew our energy with the world of sports. Starting with the National Sports Festival in Ogun State, where Amos Odesonya successfully defended his 10 it's a pistol men title at the ongoing Fiesta in Abeokuta. The 2022 Asaba Games gold medalist accumulated a total of 229.3 points to defeat his closest rival, Oyegbade Ayomide, also of Ogun State with 228.7 points, and Obiechi Natoni of Rivers State totaling bronze with 203.3 points. Team FCT also impressed on the final day of the badminton as officials attribute the success to a functional succession plan.
Just take the grace of God for us to always be winning every time, back to back. I don't know how God is doing it. And I'm very sure we are going to prepare the same way we win this one. We have won this one, the same way we are going to win that one. And I'm 100% sure because I know my team.
We produce most of the high-quality badminton players that are even living now. And we have a lot of them that are coming up in badminton in FCT.
Let's tell you that one of the fastest growing sports in the world, e-sports, was demonstrated at the Games following their recognition by the National Sports Commission as the multi-billion-dollar sports targets a competitive appearance at the National Sports Festival in Enugu in 2026.
And that's what we are here today, showing economic empowerment and showing that young people in Nigeria are doing great things and that esports in itself and video games indeed is a part of sports. And that's what the National Sports Commission has done for us here today.
I didn't see this coming. Do I like it? Yeah. It's about time. So yeah, I feel good about it. It's awesome.
I see the potential that it's available in this opportunity they are creating. And the only thing I can ask is that they make it consistent and may not be just a one-time thing.
Just a quick one, that Chidera Eziako of Edo State has won the men's 100 meters in a time of 10.27 seconds. Let's also go back now and move away from Nigeria to the world of the English Premier League, where Liverpool striker Mohamed Salah has been named as the Premier League Player of the Season. The Egyptian won the award, which is a second after votes from the public were combined with those from a panel of football experts which were also calculated. Salah, who led his side to the Premier League title this season, beat off the challenge from teammates Virgil van Dijk and Ryan Gravenberch, as well as Arsenal's Morgan Gibbs-White and Declan Rice, Newcastle's Alexander Isak, Brentford's Brian Mbueno, and Chris Wood of Nottingham Forests. Still away from Nigeria, teenager Tom Watson scored a 95th minute winner to send Sunderland back to the Premier League and deny Sheffield United in the Championship playoff final at the Wembley Stadium. The 19-year-old, who is joining Brighton and Hove Albion next season, called a low effort past Michael Cooper to secure the Black Cats a 2-1 victory and return to the top flight for the first time in 8 years. And quickly to the world of tennis, former world number 1 Novak Djokovic made another bit of tennis history as he clinched his 100th ATP singles title with a comeback victory over Hubert Hurkacz in Geneva. Now, Serbia's Djokovic, who has also won almost all there is in tennis, is just the third man in Open era to achieve the feat after Jimmy Connors and Roger Federer. 38-year-old Djokovic had won all 7 of his previous matches against Poland's Hurkacz, but had a grander victory this time. That's your sports. It's surely back to Ruth.
Thank you, Ayo. I'm actually excited about the e-game. I finally get a sport I can just easily do, right? All right, let's take tomorrow's weather. Let's find out how it will look like.
Welcome to the weather forecast. It's great to have you with us. We start off Sunday with morning thunderstorms to the coastal cities, including parts of Imo, Abia, Ondo, Osun, stretching to parts of Kwara, Kogi, Niger, the FCT, Nasarawa, and Taraba states. As we go into the afternoon and evening hours, much of the southern region, as well as parts of the north central, extending to parts of Sokoto, Kebbi, Zamfara, Kaduna, Bauchi, Taraba, and Adamawa states are expected to experience afternoon and evening thunderstorms. These storms will be accompanied by strong winds, so please take necessary precaution and stay safe. Join us again. Thank you for watching.
And just before we call it a night, remember tomorrow is International Plastic Free Day, a call to action and brings attention to the plastic we use every day. It highlights the negative environmental impact of single-use plastic. Over 380 million tons of plastic is produced every year. Half of all plastic produced is single-use, meaning it's thrown away after just one use, since only 9% of all plastic gets recycled. Most of it ends up littering communities, filling landfills and polluting oceans. So say no to single-use plastics for one day. Don't buy it, refuse it, and don't use it. And on that note, we call it a night of Weekend File. Thank you for your company. I'm Ruth Aguilera.